Hey guys, Marshall here with another episode of Plausibly Anything, and I got way too much to talk about today. We'll see what we can get in. Um, I just recently watched Mary Poppins again, one of my childhood favorite movies, and what we have some takeaways from that was really good. I just saw something recently. Research has, over the last 50 years, monkeys have never asked a question through sign language. I don't even I don't know for sure, but I don't really believe that they have an understanding of their own consciousness in the world. But I'll have to research that further. And also, I've been going through a little bit of a tough time here with. Um, I had a friend that I distanced myself with, and then he didn't like that, and he basically wanted back in to be involved. And I know it's been a couple months since I really talked to him, and he's barging back in, trying to barge back into things. Um, and and the problem was he said stuff about my family. He crossed the boundaries. He said I'm a suicide survivor, and he told me that I actually told him about how in my psychosis um, I ended up, you know, my weakness was that my mind was telling me that I had to sacrifice myself so that other people could continue their life. And he basically said to me, "You should do that again." And so that's like, it's a really amazing how someone that you known for a lot of your life would be willing to say something like that to you. It really shows how dark things can get for people. And that's one of the major topics we have today. And it is having this central awareness of your conscious, and not to be like a monkey, basically. And I really hate that that term for people has become somewhat of a racist term. I don't believe that's the case. Some may think that way. I don't. Um, and so there's this problem with your reality where you are at the effect of it, and your mind doesn't serve you in a way. And so all these things you'll get better with, like a lot of these people, they have a primary focus in their life, their career or their family, and they don't have a lot of time where they can really help improve their central awareness, and maybe even meditate or understand what's going on in their mind, and how they're kind of at the effect of things that pop into their head, the associations that they create, and they can't regulate their own reality in a way. And so unfortunately, this person, I don't think, is regulating their reality okay, and I think he's mirroring off of a lot of other people's reality, and what a lot of people think is okay. And I think he's surrounded with a bunch of people that think that um, the stuff he says is okay because maybe other people have devalued um, me in a way where they don't think it matters if they can say whatever they want to say. And so, and then all of a sudden, whenever I don't want to associate with them, this narcissism, this want to control, they don't even care about the fact that I want my space. They want that back. It's really crazy. I really hope that no one out there really suffers with the same circumstances that I suffer with, because I have some really, really crazy effed up people around me. And so, uh, back to let's go to a fun topic right here. Um, I think what people struggle with is this. And if you watch the Mary Poppins movie, you understand that she's singing about a spoonful of sugar will help the bitterness of medicine go down, and really she's singing her singing, her energy is really a spoonful of sugar, really. And so she's emulating this, how she can be, she's kind of like at the control of her reality, whereas she's such a vibrant person for the children. Um, Really a beautiful person. I'm sure she's a beautiful person in real life too, as she took that part and she wanted to change some people's lives and things like that. And so the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, I can't even say it right. The terminology is really just seeing the humor in the world and the enjoyment in bitter scenarios, and bitter situations. And there's an old man in the movie who's kind of at the effect of, he's a banker, and he's very focused on his banking, and I think he struggles with empathy for other people, and he struggles with the ability to enjoy the things that he has, the gratitude. So in the movie that I watched so many years ago that I didn't really understand all this stuff, because I was a child. Now a lot of this stuff makes sense, and it's really a spectacular movie, and just a person that's at the central awareness. I think they wanted to portray the chimney sweepers as being such really. The chimney sweepers are covered in dirt, yet they're still dancing and enjoying themselves, and it's really is being at the control of your own enjoyment. And I think even for me in this time of year when it's winter, I can almost be sort of affected by the fact that it's dreary outside today. And like the chimney sweepers, they're covered in soot, and they're still like enjoying themselves. They still have a lot of profound things to say. They have that ability of a balanced left and right brain where they can be empathetic for the children. They can be empathetic for other people, and they're not monkeys. That's the thing with the monkeys. They've never asked a question in the last 50 years through sign language, because there's no empathy there, and maybe there's no consciousness. There's not this idea that the monkey has to be there for another person, in a way. So they're kind of more self-serving. They're very taking. They just take what's given, and they don't try to understand what's going on in another person's life. And so I think we still have a lot of monkeys in society that don't really care to understand what's going on in another person's life, and they're mirroring the thought process of other people. So all of a sudden, these social groups, they become together. Baboons, orangutans, chimpanzees, they come together, and they lack the empathy for maybe another political party. They lack the empathy for another religion. They lack the empathy even for their own children, and they just tell them to do this. You don't have to understand. You don't, and they're lacking the to be able to understand what's going on in their child's mind. They just say, this is how it's going to be in this house. You're doing this. You're going to believe this, instead of actually cultivating their own way to understand what's going on in the world, and being able to be empathetic and things like that, and be able to show gratitude for your situation instead of feeling like a victim of your situation. And that's something I struggle with until I started trying to be at the control of my awareness and my perception of the world. And as soon as I started becoming at the control, and as soon as I started talking to my brain, like and the voice in my head is someone that's looking out for me, and the things that if something comes in my head I don't like, I'm like, why are you telling me this doesn't serve me in a way? You're my mind. You're here to serve me. This is a distraction, and then I move on. And so some people don't have enough time to really regulate their reality, and I feel for them, but I don't. It's not really my job to change somebody's opinion. I want to be a service to people that want to have a change in their life. And so I can't just push myself onto people. I'm not trying to change. I can't try and change this person's reality. Maybe if he asked me, maybe if he was empathetic enough to ask me why, like, what's going on here, that, like, I don't see the empathy. I see a person is trying to push guilt on somebody. And so I've experienced this with a bunch of people. They're trying to push guilt on you. And I think a lot of it is that that's what's going on in their brain too, is that they have this guilt in their brain. They don't understand how to regulate it. And they think you should be like them. You should feel guilty. You should feel guilty, or you should feel like a victim. And I've even had situations where people were like, are you looking for pity because you're in a wheelchair? I've even, like, they're kind of like they're pushing pity. They're almost like pushing pity shame, actually, which is really weird, where they'll be like, do you think that it's almost like you think that you're a victim. I've had this going on in my brain or something like that. It's really weird. And I'm like, I don't really publicly even show to a lot of people that I'm in a dark place. Maybe I did years ago, but right now I can go out in public and I will have a great freaking time. And to some people, they're like, wait a second, man, this person is handicapped. He's a victim of being drugged and laced with PCP, yet he's not stuck in this guilt and victimship. I need to remind him or something like that. It's really weird. It's really weird. These people that suffer with this, they're like, well, I feel like a victim because I can't regulate my reality, so you should try to start feeling like a victim. And they'll even actually try to get other people that mirror that same thought process. So all of a sudden you got the monkey, you got the chimpanzee, the orangutan, and the baboon, and they're all together, and they're all trying to become a victim together. It's really weird, because there really are victims in this world, and I am very sympathetic for those people, and I felt that way myself. But then to be able to progress, you have to get out of this sort of downward spiral, and then if you can focus on cultivating skills, you get your mind off of that. If you're focused on, for me, I've been singing and I've been breathing more, and my focus is on different things, cultivating skills that I want to learn, I want to be better at. And all of a sudden, I don't really think about being a victim too much. I just think about how I can be a beautiful person to other people. And some people they would hate to realize that I'm actually becoming a beautiful person, I think, which is also really weird. If I told some people that I'm growing on things, I'm growing as a person, they'd try to pick apart that. Actually, they'd probably be like, oh yeah, you're really growing, let me see how much money you're making or something. They're trying to pick apart that. And even when even when I'm making money, I still have people that are like, well, you're not making as much money as I am. It's really weird. And I think people confuse money as growth, which in a way, it can be, but the same people are very frustrated, and they can have a very frustrated state of mind. And then whenever you don't have that frustrated state of mind, they're like, well, you're not working hard enough, because if you worked hard enough, you'd be frustrated. You'd be frustrated with the world, or you'd be frustrated with liberals or something like that. And I'm like, I choose what I want. Like, I choose what frustrates me, and I can't even really. The only thing that frustrates me right now is one specific person that has said egregious things to me, which I mean, you've heard what I just said earlier in this video. Really egregious, really dark stuff. And it's not just one thing that they said. There's other dark things that they said about my family. And so he actually didn't even own up to it. He probably would deny it. I think he might even have some sort of personality disorder or something like that, where he's mirroring other people so much he doesn't even realize what he's saying. And look at that. The sun just came out for just a second today, and the birds are going nuts for it. There's a riot going on in the background. So I've been on this journey of recently of being empathetic, and I even went on TikTok, and I have a couple videos where I showed me talking to women to really understand how they think in a way. And this is so attractive to women because they deal with so many people that are monkeys. They don't ask the right questions. They're not really trying to get to know them. These guys have seemingly one thing on their mind. And this journey that I'm on right now to being more and more empathetic, to really understand people and their psychology, has been very, very fruitful for me to understand what's going on in my mind. Because whenever I can understand why somebody's acting the way that they are, not only can I separate myself from that, I can understand why it's happening. And this is very, very vital to being able to live your life. To understand the dynamics of your own relationship with another person, if you're married with them, understand why they're doing the things they're doing. And so, in a way, I'm my own psychologist and therapist right now, and I think everyone has to be that for themselves, and you can't just expect other people to help brighten your life and everything like that. And so, and we talked about in the previous video that whenever, I get this joy out of serving other people, but I don't want to change them, and I don't want them to be exactly like me, because they're their own person. They have their own skills and things like that. You don't have to be exactly like me. There's other things that you're better at than I am, There's a lot of people out there that are better at making money than me, or better at fitting into a certain role in society, I guess. And so I'm not going to tell them to quit their jobs and stuff like that. But I will encourage them to sort of navigate life to benefit themselves and their own health and things like that. But I want them to think that way. I can't really tell people how to think. You can't really do that. If you're serving people just because you want to strengthen your own reality and the concepts of your own reality, that can be a really bad angle. You have to serve people in a way where you're outside of your own head and you're thinking about how you can piece together maybe somebody's business plan, help them with that. Maybe a woman that's very, very distracted in her life, you can help piece those things together. You can see a really beautiful girl and think that she's got everything figured out, and she doesn't really. She kind of needs a man that has that rock solid understanding of the world that she may lack, because just everybody is going through something. Everybody's always going through something, and so if you can be a really empathetic person, and let's say you cultivate this empathy skill to a point where you can be a rock for somebody, hold them down in a matter of 5 minutes. Like, as soon as you cultivate the skill, I think you can sort of go from it taking 10 minutes to really connect with somebody. All of a sudden it can shrink to like 5 minutes, and maybe even 2 minutes, in a way that you're kind of cold reading and understanding their psychology type in a way. You can even tell them things about themselves that they don't even really understand. And that is like the holy grail to really being able to connect with people. Whenever you can help them understand how their own mind works, unless they're very, very, very resistant to this, which some people are very resistant at first, where they don't want all this intuitive stuff pushed on them immediately. Like, you have intuition about them, all this like direct things, this very direct stuff. A lot of people don't really like that at first. And so this is part of the empathy thing too. It's understanding why somebody doesn't like that, getting all that information really quickly about themselves, or why they think a certain way, or they may be even in denial of thinking a certain way, and you could be like, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with thinking that way. Maybe somebody has sort of made them feel like because of them thinking a certain way, they need to defend themselves in a way. And so whenever you can sort of understand psychology in a deep level, you can sort of crack these shells that people put up, and really get to experience somebody on a deep level. And I think I talked about this recently. I met this girl online where I just did a video, and I was like talking to her about things, and things got really interesting and really deep with her, and she reminded me of a few other girls that I had talked to in the past. And she even revealed things to me that she probably doesn't reveal to people a lot, because I was asking the right questions. And she really believed I cared, which I did. I was very invested in the conversation. She was the type of person that was very invested too, because of her upbringing and things like that, and that's just how she thinks, versus a person that's not going to really get that connection really quickly, and really be able to support your empathy very quickly. And so these kind of topics that I'm talking about, I've been exposed to in the past, but I haven't really dug really deep into them till now. Really, I'm digging really deep into this stuff, and making great sense of how this stuff works, and even, when I talk about psychology of monkeys and the psychology of people, I am not the type of person that thinks that we're not all equal. I think we're all equal, and I think that the people that are really working at improving, I really can see equally with. If there's people that are very resistant to trying to improve, I have trouble seeing them equally. And I think that's a really harsh, it's a really tough thing. And so from a person's standpoint, physically, everybody understanding that everybody's equal. And then I think in a way, I want to be able to build up everybody to be equal in my mind in a way. Like I love to talk to somebody, and then focusing on a way for me to perceive them as equal to me, versus the otherwise, which is very a very big problem, because you can go around life and you can just see other people as not being equal, and you can wrongfully strengthen that sort of opinion. And I've dealt with people like that, and I get why some people don't think that I'm equal to them, and I'm okay with that. And I don't really go out of my way to change those people's minds. I just move on, because that's how this whole thing is that the progress. I'm just moving on continuously. I'm moving on, talking to new people, trying to create some new bonds, and that's how I want to spend my future. What better way to spend some of your free time into being empathetic and building connections with people that could be much stronger than the connections that you have. Because I've experienced a lot of friendships just dwindle away, like with a lack of meaning and a lack of providing value to each other. I was a part of a pretty poor dynamic in friend groups. So much that I got, I guess, somewhat of a reputation as somebody that just takes, even though I will give to people. Even though I would give to certain people a lot, they still had the opinion that I just take. Even though not only did I give them things that had monetary value, um, I gave them things that I spent money on. I I gave them tons and tons of laughter and appreciation. A lot of times I got a lot of fakeness in return, and so I think this sort of mirrored off of other people's sort of fakeness too. But I can't do anything about that, and so even on a dreary day, even talking about a lot of really harsh situations, there's a lightness here. I think there's a lightness here in this video. Um, I'm very glad I came out today to talk. It's been a very important, so far, 25 minutes of my day. Very, very important. I can't tell you guys how much it is, how important it is to express yourself. Um, Whether it's one-on-one with a person, maybe you need to do what I do, and maybe get out there and record some of the stuff you want to talk about. Record what you're soaking up, the information you're soaking up. I think I had one other thing to talk about, but in Mary Poppins, at the end of the movie, they all go out and fly a kite. The guy, I'm pretty sure the guy, also the father, goes out with the kids and flies a kite. Says time to fly a kite. And there was metaphors to this sort of lightness of a kite. You're flying through the air. It's the kite is like a metaphor how you're supposed to be able to feel on a weekly basis. Maybe it's not. Maybe you can't feel that way every day. Maybe you can, but on a weekly basis, you got to find some time to go out and fly a kite. Metaphorically. And there is this conflict with all this modern pressure for you to have status and things like that. And in the movie, the father of the children, works at a bank. He gets fired from the bank, and he's overjoyed. He's overjoyed with being fired, and he tells a joke to the guy, and the guy doesn't get it at first, and so the father leaves. He goes back to his family, and the old man's sitting there, and he finally gets the joke, and he starts laughing, and all of a sudden he's floating in the air. He's feeling the effects. The dramatization is like these certain people that are so full of energy, light and fun energy, that they bring other people up, and they'll literally be flying through the air and stuff like that. As a kid, you just see all these people just flying through the air, and you just think it's awesome, and you can't really get the associations of things like that. But then now here I am, 20 years later, and it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, and it's fun. And they're also singing. It's a musical, so they're singing, and I've been enjoying trying to sing more, or sing better. And in my process of trying to sing better, it's been a lot about lightening myself up when I sing. I'm like forcing it, and a lot of times we're forcing things in life. It's just, singing is such a great metaphor for life. Unless you can lighten up and enjoy it, you're not going to end up being a good singer, really. And in life, if you're not going to lighten up and enjoy it, you're going to be a mirror to a lot of angry people, and instead of someone that grabs people up by their bootstraps and lifts them up, and that's what I want to spend my time doing in this life. There's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of things that purposes I have. Maybe I have too many purposes to focus on one, but in general, I want to bring out the lightness in others, to sort of bring them up out of dark situations. So I wish I could reach this person who was a friend of mine for a long time, lighten them up, but I don't know. I don't know if I can even change his mind, and I'm not trying to change people's minds. Like I told you, I'm not trying to change people's minds. If you go down a really dark road, I don't know if I want to even try and be a part of bringing you out of that really dark road. Because, just darkness can swirl around people that, seemingly, most of the time they have a great energy about them. And then sometimes they can be really dark. So, I don't know, find a way to be able to understand whenever you're being a little bit dark. And there is I don't know what the word is for that. I don't have it written down today. I didn't think about a word for, I guess reflecting on when it is that you are bringing out the lightness of the world or the darkness. And if you suffer from severe trauma, if you go around and you try and get other people to sort of feel like they're being attacked and they're a victim, all of a sudden you're like a soldier spreading the darkness of the world, in a way. All of a sudden, you've got a bunch of people that you sort of cultivated victimship in, and if you're truly a victim, you really know how dark it can be. So to be able to go around and push that on other people, it's crazy. It's absurd. It's absurd. And it's psychology. And I understand it. And it's out of my control. And I don't plan on controlling it. And I guess that's the beauty of things whenever you come to detach from this stuff. And so, yeah, I think we really had one of the better videos that I've had. This has been a lot of fun for me, and I hope that this stuff makes sense to you. And if you have some questions, please ask. Don't be a monkey. Ask questions. There's I'm sure you have something that or an experience. You have an experience, please share it. I'm here to try and understand you. I don't get a lot of comments on my videos, so feel free to comment. And I will see you guys next time. This is, once again, I'm Marshall. This is Plausibly Anything. Please have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. And if you feel like subscribing and liking the channel, that'd be awesome. And I'll see you guys next time.